Philip Kennedy Johnson, Sean Lewis, Phil Hester, and Sam Basri begin a new set of tales for the Superman family in Metropolis as Superman and Superboy contend with a threat from beyond their universe, a threat Superboy knows has a deadly ending for his father, and Bibbo Bobowski heads to a movie premiere with a beautiful lady on his arm, only nothing is what it seems. Philip Kennedy Johnson continues building off the things he set up in his multiple Superman Future State books here, focusing on the immense pressure Superboy is now under to take up his father's mantle. I enjoy that this was the first story they're tackling in Infinite Frontier, and one that needed to be tackled as well. The book was almost completely devoid of dialogue, which I thought was rather fitting since the artwork told the story well, and it was a classic case of show, don't tell. Waller also being involved in the story was something I didn't really expect to happen, and I have to wonder if this is tied into her Suicide Squad stuff with Superboy. It's interesting to see how connected these books seems to be compared to their previous issues pre-Death Metal, and already Infinite Frontier feels like one big cohesive story told through multiple books. Sean Lewis meanwhile begins an interesting new Metropolis set story that looks to be tackling the fact that Earth and Metropolis is now part of a larger united planets, and taking that story and shrinking it down to what the average Joe in Metropolis thinks about this, and what better person to do that story with than Bibbo Bobowski. I really enjoyed seeing a story set in his point of view again, and how he really is just a normal guy that doesn't see himself as some sort of big hero, or a guy that gets the girl, or does anything huge and heroic, and he's, for better lack of a word, pure, and that comes wonderfully through Sean Lewis's writing, as well as the setup story, which has me excited to read more about Bibbo's adventures with Jimmy Olsen as they fight aliens in the streets of Metropolis. Phil Hester's fantastic work on this issue reminded me so much of early 2000s Joe Kelly era Superman. It just had this great feel to it, and it looked wonderful as well. As I said before, a lot of the issue was without proper dialogue, so it relied heavily on Phil's work, and it works so well since I never felt lost or anything with what he was trying to tell me. Sam Basri's art on the Bibbo story was very clean and very crisp, and fit the story of the glitz and glamour of a movie premiere gone wrong really well. I love Sam's action pieces as well this issue, and there was only a couple of them, but it was fun seeing Bibbo getting to be a little bit of a hero himself. Superman issue 29 was a great opener for the Infinite Frontier set storyline the Man of Steel and Boy of Tomorrow find themselves in. I enjoyed that we're continuing storylines hinted at from Future State while also expanding ones previously seen in the book, like the United Planets and its effect on Metropolis and the world. It was the perfect combination of trying something new while also continuing some previous stories, and I'm really excited to find out what happens with Superman and Bibbo. I'm going to give this issue a 9.5 out of 10. Superman issue 29 finds Superboy and Superman battling a group of green aliens in space as a voice says that the golden age is where a child thinks their parents were indestructible and infallible, and that trust makes children fearless and be able to climb any obstacle. The Super family continue battling the alien horde near the Star Lab satellite, throwing the aliens back through a tear in space they came through. The satellite fires a beam into the tear and it seemingly seals it, allowing Superman and Superboy to wave goodbye as they head back towards Earth. As they leave, Amanda Waller spies on them, fed data by the Star team on the satellite, which learned that the radiation from the breach negatively impacts Superman's energy output, but not his son's, and the Singularity Cannon didn't seal the breach fully, and it will be reopening soon, and they want to try and seal it for good, but Waller stops them, since whatever is beyond it, Superman is weak to it, and requires further study. Clark and John meanwhile head home to Lois, and as the family relax, Lois can't help but feel that something is off, as the voice again says that the golden age is a wonderful thing, but it doesn't last forever, since kids grow up and fears grow with them. The breach soon reopens and more monsters flood through them, so Superman and Superboy return to battle them. During the battle, one of the aliens fires a beam at Superman, wounding the arm of the hero, allowing John to see that his father isn't invulnerable like he thought, but rather he is vulnerable and mortal. The Star team says that things are getting out of hand, so Waller orders the breach to be sealed as Superman races to confront the aliens yet again. He smashes them back into the void as the cannon fires, sealing the void yet again. Superboy comes to see his injured father, as Waller finds the breach has been closed forever and she's got all of the Superman data she could want. Clark and John head back home, but as they fly, Clark remembers John playing with Krypto while he was young, so he diverts them off course, saying that they aren't going home just yet. Superman races away and comes back in a second with a pine cone, wondering if John remembers playing Coney Ball, the game he made up. John knows that was a long time ago, but Clark knows not for him and Lois, wondering if his son wants to play. John doesn't think he remembers how, since it's been a lot longer for him than it has his father. Clark understands, putting the pine cone back down in the forest, knowing that he probably didn't play any of it in the future. John says that really wasn't the kind of place for that, and as they fly away, Clark says that he knows John isn't a kid anymore, but it's been hard thinking about all the time they lost with him. John knows it's really not the same, but he saw a lot of his father in the future, and they tell so many stories of him, and many people looked at him like he was Clark, and that part wasn't great, hating when people called him Superman or asked him when he was going to be Superman, like it's just some job that anyone could replace his father since he's Superman and the world needs him and John isn't ready to take that mantle up yet. Clark knows his son is better than he was ever at that age, but John tearfully says he doesn't understand and he can't go the next time the breach opens. At the Fortress of Solitude, Kellex continues to analyze the environmental radiological data from Superman's recent battle in the Void, getting results that make him contact Superman immediately with an emergency. Superman doesn't know what John is talking about, but John reveals that he was in the future and everything they are doing is all history, and he knows everything Superman accomplished, as well as the day he's going to die, and his time is almost over and John isn't ready to take up the mantle. Superman hears Kellex's alert, which finds that the breach wasn't the first interdimensional breach in the past 60 days, and there have been many, and while most were small, repeated use of this breach made it unstable. Kellex reveals that the first breaches came from within inside the Star Labs orbital station, the station that Superman and Superboy were protecting. The breach soon reopens again in space as a voice says that as long as a child is under their parents' wings, they will never be safe, since while they can trust in their infallibility of the parents, and that allowed them to grow, their fear is the truer companion. As the heroes race to the breach, a huge green alien, bigger than the last lot, emerges near Star Labs. In Metropolis, Jimmy Olsen welcomes us to Metropolis, a city that is now an intergalactic one thanks to Superman, so a more down-to-earth voice is needed to remind the city of who they are, and that voice belongs to Bibbo Bibowski, who arrives at a movie premiere told by the woman Dolores that he's the salt-of-the-earth guy that they need, and people want to know what he has to say. Bibbo doesn't think so, since he's just a simple bartender. She knows he can always say no to this, but Bibbo says that Jimmy told him that Superman needs folks around the universe to understand where they are coming from, and he would rather hold up a mirror than look into it. Dolores hugs him, wanting a kiss from the man, which makes Bibbo wonder if right now is the time he finally gets the girl. A voice says at least the ape has some self-awareness as Projectress tells Deadstream to be nice. Deadstream says that Projectress wastes her time seducing the strongest men in the galaxy, and now she's wasting her time with this guy. The woman says that Superman is too strong for them, but this Bibbo man could be the one they build a whole plan off of, so they'll let him project his fantasy woman onto her cosmic smoke that has taken the form of Dolores. Deadstream transforms into a suave looking man in a tuxedo, wanting to play a game as he goes and hits on Dolores. Bibbo says that he should keep his tongue in his cheek before he tears it out, as Dolores tells Bibbo not to get into any brawls now since he's a writer, but Bibbo said he was only being polite since he didn't use any curse words or anything. Jimmy spots the strange mist around the man and Dolores as they head inside the movie theater. As they sit down, Bibbo begins to stew over the guy from before as Dolores hopes that he's okay. Bibbo says that he was doing just a deep dive into his own self-hatred as the man returns, throwing popcorn at Bibbo and trying to stir him up. Bibbo keeps his anger in check, telling an usher about the man throwing popcorn, but the man again calls out to Dolores, and this time it sends Bibbo over the edge. Getting out of his seat, he tackles the man out of the theater and into the atrium, throwing him in the fountain in the middle of it, angered at the way he treated Dolores. Dolores comes to see him and Bibbo tells the woman he's fine, asking how the movie ended. Suddenly, the man turns into a giant water snake alien, who tells Bibbo to feel the wrath of Deadstream. The villain smashes Bibbo against the wall, saying a new age is dawning and his city has made itself indispensable since there are so many opportunities for innovation there, and they're all being wasted on Superman's lackeys. Bibbo can tell that the villain is somehow drawing power from the water in the fountain, and he finds the valves to shut it off nearby, turning it and taking the water away, and doing so shrinks the villain back down to human size, allowing the larger Bibbo to tackle him into the fountain and knock him out. Bibbo calls for Dolores as Jimmy finds the woman nearby, but upon touching her, she just turns to smoke. Bibbo also finds that Deadstream is gone, but he knows that this was all just some trick, not understanding any of it. Jimmy thinks that he was being targeted since he's the common man of Metropolis, and if they can trick him, they can do it to everyone. He asks if Bibbo would write about this, so later, Bibbo gets to work writing his first article for the Daily Planet as Deadstream and Projectress watch on from a nearby rooftop, knowing it's time to see what Bibbo Babowski and Jimmy Olsen and the city of Metropolis are made of.